Hey everyone, how you going? We're back on a Saturday this time, or maybe it's Friday still in the US. I don't know. What we've got though is something called Zima, or technically it's a ZimaBoard. So this is ZimaBoard 2 that IceWhale were kind enough to send to me. And I'm kind of excited because I haven't looked at something like this, and I mean, the box itself is pretty cool, but there's a lot of things I like about what I've read about this, and what I want to do is see if they're true. So in this, we're not only just going to have a look at, what the product is, because it's been around a little while and there are other videos about it. We're also just going to have a look inside it and try plugging some random stuff into it and kind of break down the specs a little bit more too. So hopefully after seeing this, you're going to have a few more ideas about what you can do with this and why it might be useful to you. We will, of course, also touch on why Zima and why IceWhale. So if all of that interests you and you want to see some more of this, hang around for about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes and you'll get to see what's inside. So beginning with the unboxing, let's get into it. Now, satisfying, gotta love that. This is rather nicely packaged too. There we go. Oh, that's cool. All right, I like that this is all cardboard, so it's easily recyclable, but very interesting packaging too. We'll probably keep that box aside. We have a nice little elastic band there. Get that off, that'd be a rather terrible headband, but it'd be funny. We have an optional fan, we have a power supply, some SATA connectors, and international plugs for the power supply. Excellent. Let me get those right out my way. Box somewhere behind me. Then, this is nicely made, and I see it's designed, it looks like they have actually made this to suit multiple different things that they might ship in this. Now, I have actually opened this before without even breaking that tear seal because I wanted to make sure. I can't remember why, actually. All right, that is cool. So, very nice, interesting box there. Very environmentally friendly, which I appreciate. Nice little card. I do like the font. Lauren, founder of IceWhale. Just about kind of what they do and why they do it if autofocus wants to catch up. That is kind of cool. It started as a Kickstarter project focusing on home servers, and they're doing things differently. This looks like it was written by AI, but that could also just be the translation. I got nothing against that. That is worth holding on to in my opinion, because that's a cool little bit of SBC history, as is this thing. This is interesting. Open PCIe slot, that'd be what, X4. We've got mini display port, USB. Actually, let me pull the specs up. We can go through this in a little bit more detail. So, aluminium case, obviously, this is bloody sturdy. These would be SATA 3 6 gig ports on this end with a power connector. So that kind of puts it straight into the home lab NAS mini server space. Good little connectors here, Torx connectors, which Torx screws are obviously better than Phillips or flathead for so many reasons. We've got USB 3.1 and dual 2.5 gig LAN. We do have a DC barrel jack power supply. That's not my favorite, but of course I do have those adapters for it. So if you haven't seen, I've got USB Type-C PD to barrel jack, and this one is probably going to be 12 volt, but we will double check. Yep, 12 volt, 3 amp, perfect. ZimaBoard 2 hack out new rules designed by IceWhale. Assembled in China, rated input 12 volt. That's cool. So mini display port as well, which is 1.4, can do 4K at 60 FPS apparently. But this is a very, very sturdy design. There is a little hole there. I'm not sure if that's for moisture or reset maybe, but we are going to open this up. We are most certainly going to open this up. Having had a look into the specs already, I like that this is an open slot so you can fit more things in. It is PCIe 3.0. They've got a X4 connector, but it's only an X1 interface, only one lane. So that's worth being aware of. What that practically means, by the way, before I get ahead with this, is that if you've got something that's PCIe 3.0 compatible, you're going to get about 1 gigabyte per second or 8 gigabit. So you're not going to be able to really run a 10 gigabit network interface. You can, but you're not going to get that full 10 gigabit, and that's worth being aware of. That's not on IceWhale or Zima though. That's most likely going to be that this has an Intel N150 in it. So very, very capable, but of course they have to distribute their PCIe lanes amongst all the functions such as networking, output display, USB, and even SATA. All of these take PCIe lanes. So this extensibility is excellent. And honestly, 8 gigabit is plenty for more drives. Like, you know, SATA is only 6 gigabit, so you can at least add one more extremely high speed device, but multiple devices would be fine too, because you're almost never going to saturate that link. Now let's have a look at what else they sent me, because we've got this box and we've got this thing and also got this. So this is, ooh, very cool. Wow, very well made looking too. Let's get some of this out of the way. So this is a PCIe X4 to dual port N2. So those would be, what is that, M keying from memory for SSDs. What's interesting is that it's PCIe X4. Now, if I have a close look, oh, I can't tell how many lanes it's using, but you'd hope it's only actually using a single lane. Either way, most devices will auto-negotiate down. What you've got here as well is your different standoffs for different size NVMe drives, all the way up to 2210. So 2280 is your standard one, but it does get big. Heatsink on the controller is always excellent. Full size bracket, small bracket if you need it, and your standoff. So that is very cool. I've got some other devices similar to this, but not that good. And we might, you know, we will test that out. So let's keep that in the testing pile. Desk is getting cluttered. We then have a mini DisplayPort to 4K adapter. I definitely need that because I don't have mini DisplayPort cables on me, so that can go there. This one is obviously center focus. And then what do we got here? Shanghai IceWhale Technologies Limited 2-bay hard drive rack. All right, this is where it's getting cool. If you have a look in the community forums too, people have 3D printed a lot of cool stuff for this. I've been intending to make some 3D printing videos for some time. I have 3 or 4 3D printers. If you want to see something involving 3D printing, and especially with this ZimaBoard, or if you just want to see more ZimaBoard, definitely let me know and I can do. Now, related to 3D printing, because obviously 3D printing can be quite difficult, you might want to just get it made for you. If that's the case, check out PCBWay. They are sponsoring this video, which is hugely appreciated because ZimaBoard didn't give me any money or anything to make this. PCBWay though will sponsor it, or are sponsoring it, which is hugely appreciated. They're a continued long-term supporter of this channel. They also have a design contest in. If you are into PCBs, check this out. You can win $500, but you'll get a Raspberry Pi Pico Pico 2 just for participating. Now, on the 3D printing side, their 3D printing is through the roof. You can basically drop any file that you've got. You can go online to Thingiverse and find a NAS box or something that you want a 3D print to fit this into, and you can have it printed from so many different materials, including stainless steel, which is insane, or aluminium. They have some really, really cool options available. And then once you've uploaded, you can also pick your surface finish. So check out PCBWay. There is a link below in the description, and I might even stick a QR code on the screen to get $5 off your first order, which if you're getting PCBs means with a prototype order, you just pay for shipping around $8 or so, depending on where you are. So thank you PCBWay for this. Back to the content now though. This also comes with some cool stuff. We have some bubble bags with a neat little screwdriver. We have some thumb screws. We have some hard drive mounting accessories. And this interesting little bracket. What is this? Oh, it's very sticky is what it is. Ah, so that would be to mount it on the ZimaBoard. And, oh, still sealed, very fresh. PCIe extension. Now, I did not know that was in there, so funnily enough, if I dig through all the crap I've got over here, I bought one with me too. we'll test both of them out perhaps, because this is from AliExpress and similarly it's open-ended. I'm not sure if there's going to be, I mean, they look like they're probably made by the same company or bait. They're very, very similar, aren't they? They've got a 2A and a 3B standoff or back plate there. Very interesting. So that came with it. Let's hold on to that for now and we'll test this other one out with some other stuff. So it looks like it just all mounts together. There's bound to be instructions for it. That's really cool. More importantly though, what does it do? The first thing I really want to know, as always, is when you plug it in, what happens? And for that, we'll want to see the display output. So I'm going to put this mini DisplayPort adapter in there. I have my HDMI input there. We're going to be using the Elgato device for this here. Let's get some more of this out of the way. That can stay, that can stay. You can't even see it, doesn't matter. Screws can go over there. And I'll just find myself a power supply and probably, well, comes with one actually. What does it want? Oh, this is 5 amp. So that's pretty awesome. That means if you're running external spinning hard drives, you've got some headroom there, especially if you're chucking on some enterprise class drives. Do they have an Australian adapter though? Pro tip, if they don't, you can actually twist these into Australian form. I don't know what that's for, if that's some other country. Be very, very careful when you do it. I've done it in other videos and I've done it with heaps of appliances. It does work, it's just dangerous. Very dangerous. Sweet. Gonna grab an extension cable, we'll get this bad boy plugged in and then we'll see what the default output's like and what it does. Alrighty, that is sorted. And thinking about it, this is a little bit different in a unexpected way because it's not really a SBC. It's not really a single board computer. This is, hate to use the acronym, but an SBS, not small business server, a single board server. And that's changing it a little bit. I'll still benchmark it and I'm still treating it like an SBC, but I don't think I can put it on the SBC tier list, even if I wanted to. It doesn't quite fit in that category, but it does a lot of things like mobile workstation, like as far as use cases, mobile workstation, mini NAS, you could run some local cloud, you can use it as a backup appliance, good in so many different home lab scenarios. And so realistically, for end users, thinking about what this means, you can kind of get rid of Google. You could expand your home storage or have shared storage without relying on your computer being turned on, or you can have a literal pocket PC. And pocket PC. Don't mishear that. I'll make sure the subtitles are correct. Ready to go. And with a starting price of, I think it's $279, this is the higher end model. So the starting one, I think, has 32 gig eMMC and let's have a quick look, 32 gig eMMC and 8 gig of RAM, yeah. And then this model has 16 gig of RAM, 64 gig eMMC, and that's only $349. So both options are really good, and of course there's heaps of accessories for them. But let's jump over to the Elgato. Let's hope it works. And I'm plugging this in. Let's see if I can add an extra view. Hang on. There we go. Nice and magic. So now you can see when I plug this in. So 3, 2, 1, in she goes. I hope that's turned on. So oh yeah, we have a status light over there, which is really handy. There you go, can't autofocus. Oh, booting. ZimaOS, based on CasaOS, if you caught that then. What I didn't consider is I don't have a mouse. Whoa, 4K, there we go. I don't have a mouse and keyboard plugged into this one. What I'm curious about though is if this has a desktop UI built into it. And what I'm gonna do is update it if it has any update functionality and then benchmark it. I wanna bench it as it kind of should be or is. This can even run Windows. And if I can find the flash drive, I might stick Windows on here as well and try that out. I'm not sure if I'll get to that in this video though. That resolution is killing me. Can I override that? Let me see if I can make that a bit nicer. Yeah, no, I could not do much there. I couldn't change the resolution easily, but I could scale it up. So we can see ZimaBoard 2, ZimaOS 1.5.0. It hasn't got NTP, serial host name, 6.12 kernels, bloody nice, showing the uptime. Looking for some network. Let me grab a network cable, plug it in then, and we'll have a look at what this thing wants to give us next. All right, I've got a network cable here. I zoomed that in a little bit too. This network cable is plugged into my Banana Pi BPI RV2, which I'm also just using as a switch now. If you haven't seen it in my latest video, I'm not using it as a router, or I'm using it as a router on a stick, but it has extra ports, so why not use it as a switch? There we go. All right, 10.42.20.15. Let's go check that out. If we go to this one. Ooh, sexy. English, US. Yeah, that'll do. Most of you are probably in the US anyway. Local account owner, because I own this thing. And then a super secure password that's not password 1-ish. Introducing hard drives, data, access. Oh, Zima client with that. Very interesting. That's cool. All right. Haven't seen that before. Very, very useful. We've got the Zima Cube now too, so you can join them together. That is cool. And you can remotely access them. And you've got peer drop. Okay, so this thing is really highly integrated. I'm very impressed. It of course looks a lot like CasaOS. Way back when I had a look at the Radcha Aircube Fogwise, I might have got those backwards. Very similar, that uses CasaOS, but the App Store on that would be the same as this. And there is a lot of stuff. So Cloudflare D, if you want to do tunneling. Image I've been looking at, though PhotoPrism, no, sorry, I looked at PhotoPrism, but Image is now what I'm working on. And it's been really good. I'm contributing to it as well, which is awesome. As you can see though, like Home Assistant and Jellyfin, MongoDB. What else is interesting here? What's the, in fact, does it have a sorting? Sort. Official certified community, show all. Where is the bloody sort function? Nah, no sorting. I want to see what the most popular is. I guess these are the featured ones. Jellyfin's become really popular recently. So is N8N. That is quite excellent. Yeah. ESP Home, of course. Nextcloud, I use that. I use Obsidian. God, I can't even, Tailscale is very, very good. That's probably what the remote access is based on. It's got Unify available, which is excellent. I use that as well. WireGuard, I use that. WebDev, I use that. Uptime Kuma, I use that. This is sweet. I'm liking how quick and easy this is. And of course, you can see it's nice and cool. Plenty of overhead, and it's nice and easy to get started. That's, in my mind, what makes this a portable server. I'm umming a lot because I'm a bit lost for words. Like, it's a portable server, it's designed for end users. You don't have to be a network wizard like a rocket surgeon to put this together. It just kind of works, which is bloody awesome. So let's try out a few more things now. I am very curious. I don't want to break it yet. What I will quickly do is go to this output and see if there's any updates available. That's always something you should do. When you get something brand new like this, go and do the updates, because change update plus. Okay, you also get a free lifetime subscription to ZimaOS Plus with this, I believe, which is normally $29 for a lifetime license, but it gives you more functionality. I don't know what, according to that list, but they told me it gives more functionality, which is nice. So I guess it removes some of these limitations. Updates though should be in here. Developer mode, having that option is excellent. You can customize it even more. I like customizing stuff because it's the quickest way to break it, and breaking it is how you learn. Where's the bloody updates? At least they say reinvented by Zima too. That's quite nice. Let me have a quick twiddle with how the hell to get some updates going, and I'll be back in a sec. So I couldn't find the update function. Having a look though in their GitHub, I love that they use GitHub. You can see they've just released 1.6.0 15 hours ago, which is amazing. So you can see they've added customizable display for storage, USB class device storage management, a reliable saving mechanism for RAID metadata, which is really handy. I can't express how many RAID arrays I've had to manually rebuild due to missing metadata. Customizable display for device images and login wallpaper. They've fixed a pile of issues. They've optimized a pile of settings, and they've got ISOs and images and RAUCB, whatever that is, RAUCB extension. Kind of embedded robust auto update controller. That's pretty neat. All right, I like that. So we had 1.5.0, and if we have a look by the tags, let's see when that was released. Previous, next. September 2025. So it's only like 6 months old. That's not bad at all, but I thought maybe if it reboots, it'll tell us about these updates. But apparently not. There's meant to be like a dot in the top left corner. I want 1.6.0. So I'm going to take another break. I'm going to figure out how the hell you do this, and then I'll come back to you. Back in a tick. So I did some digging and some reading. It looks like you just have to wait a little bit. But in the meantime, I did find some more stuff. So first of all, if you go in and turn on developer mode, you can turn on SSH, which is quite handy. However, there is just a web-based terminal, and you can just launch this and bam, you can, log in as you normally would, which is very handy. So over here, I've started a manual update just by pulling it and running it. This is in their IceWhale community documentation, which is very handy if you need it. They do have a lot of information about the different ways you can update and recover in here, which is great. I did find some other stuff too. So as far as ZimaOS goes, there is a desktop client, which is really cool. There's a mobile client that we touched on before, and then they've got some different plugins and stuff. So you've got migrations from CasaOS, Zima nodes as a Chrome OS extension, and you've got an Obsidian sync for backing up and cross-device synchronization with Obsidian, which is really handy. That means you don't have to pay Obsidian to do that. I mean, it's only $7 a month or something, but it is really cool that they've got that. Similarly, their documentation I found is actually quite good over here. It's on ZimaSpace.com. So your resources are not only in the IceWhale community, which is on ZimaSpace.com, but in the ZimaSpace.com documentation, which looks very comprehensive and is greatly appreciated. That also being said, if you just go to the CasaOS documentation, that's going to be much the same. The majority of this is still going to apply, which is quite handy. They might have some extra guides in here. I actually don't like this layout. That's really annoying. So yeah, stick to the ZimaOS stuff if you want, but the whoa, that's awesome. The CasaOS stuff is good too. Now, after this update, we're going to have to dig into this a little bit more. So I'm going to benchmark it in the background, but then I think we can start plugging some stuff in. We've got this PCIe slot here that we can cram some stuff in. And I've got another graphics card just to see what that does. I think that's a Radeon, but I can't remember. I've got a dual 10 gigabit card. You can't even see that properly, can you? Dual 10 gigabit card, and we've got this M2 breakout. I've got some SSDs, I've got some hard drive. Let's cram it all in, see what the hell happens, and make a hybrid monster that shouldn't exist, but just for funsies. So I'll be back quite shortly. We're just going to reboot this system for the update, which is, believe it or not, already done. So, whoop, wrong one. That one. Reboot. No, sudo reboot. Back in a sec. And there we go. We are all updated. There's nothing that we really... Ooh, UPS. Okay, it doesn't have SNMP option. It's only got USB, but that is very handy. That's got UPS support and rather extensive too. So there's nothing in here that I really want to test yet. What I want to do is start plugging some stuff in. Now, of course, you don't actually want to, whoop, wrong screen. You don't actually want to plug things into this whilst it's running. So we're going to do them one at a time, and let's just start with the GPU. And for that, obviously it's the wrong size and it's not going to fit, or it might. Oh, it might just fit like that. We'll try it. I'll unplug it first and we'll see what happens. And then we'll start plugging some other stuff in and go from there. Back in a sec. as I keep saying, this is lots of little segments of video, but I don't mind doing this. There's lots to test out in this. It's not even getting that warm. I'll do that benchmark though on 1.6.0, shut it down, plug this in, boot it back up, and you can see what happens. Hold tight. All right, let's see if we can actually get this thing to fit. It is so close. It's like less than a millimeter away. All right, and we'll just use their PCIe extension. If that was a tad closer, I feel like that would be a really good design feature. Maybe that's something they can review in the next version, but for now, just get that bad boy clipped in. Let's get the jankiest GPU connection you've ever seen. Can't even remember what GPU this is. We get some HDMI into it. Don't even know if the GPU works. We'll find out. It's one that was laying around in the shed. And plug it back in. So, oh yeah, the fan is spinning. The fan sounds very crunchy. Wow, I think it'll be fine without the fan. Now, this is probably going to treat it as a secondary display, so I don't know if we will actually get any output, but as I said, also don't know if this graphics card works. So what we can try doing whilst that's going is just SSH to it again. Okay. Oh, it is working. All right, we have a graphics card. As far as it not actually outputting anything, I'll just try reconnecting it, but it's probably because it's a secondary display. I'm also actually thinking maybe that HDMI plug wasn't in all the way. No NVIDIA GPU found. Installing the system is supported through legacy drivers, please go. Ah, there's not actually drivers. All right, let me quickly grab some drivers and then we'll see if that makes a difference. I don't know if it will, but we can try it. Hang on. All right, well, the NVIDIA GPU did not work and I found an AMD Radeon GPU, but that didn't work either. The NVIDIA GPU needed drivers and it's a read-only file system, which makes it too hard for me. And this GPU just didn't work. I think it wasn't happy with only using a single lane. So moving on, what we will test, since it's supplied, is this SSD board. I've got a single SSD here. I don't expect there's going to be any issues with this. I'm not going to screw it down for now. You should, but you technically don't have to as long as it's not left floating. So I'll just stick a silicon lucky band around that. I do that so often and it works so well. You can even, these are silicon, so if you're making a burrito and sticking it in your air fryer, you can use that too. And it's really quite handy. So plugging it back in, let's then see if this SSD appears, which of course it should. And if you hadn't noticed, there is a status LED. Come on, autofocus, on that PCI extension, which is handy. And here, very, very handy, we can see one of the SSDs detected. Thank you to Mike for giving me this SSD because he didn't need it anymore, adding it to the pile of random SSDs to test. So if we go back to our web interface over here, give it a tick to boot up, which should be about now-ish. Helps if you can actually see what I'm doing too. Go straight into the storage. One thing I want to show you, the Ethernet interface. What's really cool is you can jump straight to BTOP, which is really, really handy. So if you want to see what's going on, you've got a beautiful interface here for that. And I can possibly even zoom it in so you can see it a little bit better. But BTOP is very, very cool. So back here, let's go about there. Have a look at the storage. Start. You got something for me, bud? Is it a... Okay, it has picked that up. Manage storage, yep, start. Okay, it just didn't like being so zoomed in before. Combine or enable? BTRFS, that's pretty sweet. Everything on there will be erased. Don't care, it's not mine. And that's it. Now I've got more storage available. So what can I do with this then? Nice, that's showing some good stuff. I guess I could have expanded the existing storage, and you can also use it as a backup, but it shows you the storage type and everything as well. Wow. Want to combine disks using RAID? Yes, well, we can possibly grab this SSD storage, remove it, and then go start, combine. Okay, so we don't have enough storage to do any of these. That's perfectly fine, but of course we can fix that. Back here, we've got this thing. We don't even need that. That's the spinning disks. I'm not going to be using spinning disks at this point. We have the SATA ports available on here. So let's add some more stuff. Let's get this SATA double adapter thingy. And SATA can be hot swap as long as it's enabled in the BIOS. Got more drives Mike gave me. As long as it's enabled in the BIOS, especially if it's eSATA, which this is not. It's normal SATA, but hot swap is pretty much never a problem. So we'll cram all of it together. That'll give us 3 disks, which is going to give us more options. We'll see how that goes. And then we'll also test 10 gigabit networking, though I won't be doing iPerf. And there we go. And we'll also crack it open and have a look inside, because I think everyone is... Why is that snapped off? Mike, stop breaking your SSDs. There you go. Plug that one in. Yeah, we'll crack it open and see what's going on inside, because, you know, you always want to look at how things are put together and learn from it. So there we go. We've got a pile of storage attached. You could have 2 SSDs on there, two M.2 SSDs, and you can have 2 SATA SSDs. So we'll probably want to configure caching and things like that. Oh, it's offering stable diffusion. That would probably be slow, but it would work. Storage, start, combine. I don't think it's detected all the disks yet, and you can't see. No, it's only seeing... Yeah, there's no hot swap enabled at the moment. We'd probably have to enable that in the BIOS if it's an option, but we can always give it a good old reboot. And when we reconnect, it should see both those disks. Assuming I plugged it in right, but yeah, that'll feel solid. So let's give that a hot minute. All right, so this is interesting. Not sure the reason, but it doesn't boot with either of these connected. It does boot, of course, with that one connected. Let's just go back to the full screen view. So PCIe is not a problem, but it does not like either SATA drive. I've tried swapping them around, but it won't boot, which I'm guessing might be a bug in the BIOS or UEFI, because it doesn't look like it's even getting to grub or trying to boot further. All I get is this view that you saw before, just the UEFI boot splash. So I'm not too sure what's happening there, but, oh, well, now I've unplugged it. I wonder if I just leave it, well, I left it a few minutes, but that's possibly not long enough. It does seem like a bug though. It could be if these are OS drives, if old mate that gave them to me actually had an operating system or some RAID array on there. Not too sure, but what I will do, that was about maybe 5 minutes, and I had unplugged them as you saw. I'm gonna plug them back in, and I'm gonna give it a little bit longer. So that can go back in there. What's interesting as well, I did try to do a SATA bus rescan from CLI, and neither of them were picked up. It redetected this one again and showed me that, but it didn't show any of those drives. So I thought maybe it was because it might be a matter of PCIe lane limitations. I unplugged this and rebooted, but same thing. So I don't think it's PCIe limitations. I think it's something to do with the SATA interface. And it could even be a bug in the new version, but given it was hanging on that boot splash, I'm very much doubting it. So back to here, and then I'm just gonna power cycle it. So that's out, that's back in, and you can see my little overlay here, how I've got it set up. I'll leave it sitting there. We'll see what happens. We are probably going to install this fan at some point too, because we're going to disassemble it, and they do leave a little gap just there. I don't know if you can see that very well, but we go. They leave a gap just there for the fan ribbon, which is nice and neat. So let's see if this boots. Interesting, very interesting. Hold tight. So it did boot eventually. It's just not picking anything up though, which is really interesting. Indicates a bit of a SATA timeout, I guess, or some sort of link detection failure. Just nobody's home. So that's interesting. We've got no SATA there, and I don't think it's the drives, because that's two different drives tried individually and together, and that's not working. But we do have more things to connect, and then we can rip the bastard apart. So I'm going to plug in a 10 gigabit card, which I've got here. Where's my webcam? 10 gigabit card. It's of course only capable of 8 gigabit. This is dual port too, but it's X520, I think the chipset is. Won't be able to use it all, but if it works, that's cool, because it can be very handy. You got link redundancy, you got higher throughput, everything like that. So we'll unplug that, we'll unplug that, and I will be asking my rep why that doesn't work. We'll get this bad boy back and go very clumsily. Things are falling everywhere. Get in there. There. And there. Let's twist that back over that way. Plug in there. Yeah, that's probably all we need. I'll leave the graphics, the HDMI plugged in, just in case it doesn't boot, and make sure that's in firmly. I'm going to put my sunnies on just in case this AliExpress network card explodes with this crazy rig, but it should be fine. I bought 5 of these AliExpress X520 cards, and I've been using 2 of them now for a while now. I've got one in this computer that I'm recording on, and it's been absolutely flawless, which I really did not expect. So if we go back started booting straight away. We're probably going to get a different IP address though. So I'm just going back to that zoomed view, not that it helps very much, because defaulting to 4K on the console, which is always wonderful for those with less than superhuman eyes. Come on, there we go. What do we got? 10.42.20.16. Well, I could have probably guessed that one. That just means that over here we can go 16. And this is obviously now using 10 gigabit. So you can see we've got 4 Ethernet interfaces now, which is awesome. That's not actually going to show me what I want in there, but I don't have anything to test it here, but the fact that it's just working out of the box with a 10 gigabit NIC that I got from AliExpress for 20 bucks is quite excellent. I'm very happy with that. That gives you a lot more flexibility, especially if you're running a NAS or any sort of, any sort of home server interface. And again, this is consuming nearly nothing. So we would need to start deploying apps in this to use anything close to any of the storage. And this is nice too. It shows 10, 2.5, 2.5, 10. By default, it's got this virtual remote network, so that'll be a tail scale interface. That's, turn that off. That's very nice that it's so automatic. I wonder if you can bridge all of these as well, if there is an option for that. Can't see anything, but I'd assume there is a way. And again, ZimaOS bridge network. You could create a 10 gigabit switch out of this. It doesn't have auto run for a bridge feature. Now we can throw Docker. Not out of the box, but it's doable. So that's cool. That's worth knowing. Now, let's break it open. So much time has gone into plugging crap in that we don't really always care about. And let's get you a better view on there too. So, a lot of vendors don't like you opening stuff up. And I don't often remind you because I keep forgetting, but like and subscribe if you like this. Hit the little dingleberry down there and give me a bit of love, because YouTube really likes it when you do this. I don't even know how long this video has been now, but I like it when you do that because it makes YouTube give me more money, or more viewers, and more viewers mean more money. Always good. Now, I will open it up. What I did want to tell you about though is their branding. So I asked them about this Zima branding and even IceWhale, and they said that Zima is inspired by Zima Blue. So it's a short story from Love, Death and Robots in season 1. And Zima's a robot artist who becomes famous for work centered around a specific shade of blue. Over time, it's revealed that his true origin is simple pool cleaning robot, and that the blue he's obsessed with comes from the swimming pool itself. Ultimately, he returns to his original purpose in order to explore his true self. So for IceWhale, they say that this represents simplicity, purpose, and returning to what truly matters, which is the values that resonate strongly with their product philosophy. And then I said, well, IceWhale doesn't make sense to me either. What the hell's going on there? Why IceWhale? And for that, they said it comes from the founder's original idea. So ice represents purity, clarity, and focus. And then whale symbolizes intelligence, depth, and wisdom. So together, IceWhale reflects their belief in building technology with both pure intention and powerful in capability. And they say calm on the surface, strong and intelligent at the core. So let's have a look at this core. I want to see what's going on in there. And I'll put the fan on. I'm not gonna necessarily leave the fan on. I'm not sure about that yet. I might benchmark it with the fan on since I've already benchmarked it without it. It depends what I end up using this for, and I'm not entirely sure yet. The reason being, there's a lot of things I could use it for. N150 processors, like what this has in there, are actually underrated, I think. I really, really like them. I've got two, is that all of them? I've got two N100s, I think I've got an N95 somewhere, and two N150s now. And I really, really like them. I think they're actually quite powerful and capable. Yeah, is that? I thought that's... So I'm always happy to have more N150s. They are good. Let me just quickly check the docs and see how to open this. Oh yeah, wrong screws apparently. I don't know what those ones do, but we removed them anyway. So you take the screws on the bottom off. These are quite tight too. Oh God, they're well manufactured screws. Those are beautiful. Thread locker on them and very, very nice high quality screws. I'm not feeling any slip or strip in that. They have a lot of metal around the head, which makes them reliable. Now we can have a look at what that little hole's for. Let's get you a little bit, I thought I had a zoom view there, whatever. It's going to get you a closer view, but don't worry about it. Oh, so tight. But also, decent little screwdrivers too, and they've got a hex head so you can really get some more tension on them with something else if need be. There we go. Excellent. So that is a reset button under that hole. That's most excellent to know. It's got a CR2032, so that's your real-time clock. That's the interface for the fan. So unplug that and slap that on. And of course, I have unscrewed those other screws. So they're going to give me... Oh, I think this thing has some heatsink going on. I can't see... Oh, I can see. There are other screws there. And I was just... Where's my screwdriver? I was just putting a lot of tension, more than necessary, I would imagine, on... Where are all my normal screwdrivers? All right. More tension than necessary on the PCB. Now, underneath there is probably going to be some thermal compound of some degree. So, yeah, that's too big, holding it down. And so we might need to replace this, especially before I put it into any sort of production use. Still too big. But for now, I want to see what they've done with the design. So they've got a serial number, they've got their spec label, which is quite nice. It looks like it might only be this one screw. I can't see another yet. Is there another that I'm missing? I don't want to break it, but I can't see anything else holding it down. Is it under the real-time clock? God, what is that sticky stuff made of? Ah, yes, there is one there. Sorry, real-time clock battery. that stuff is stupidly sticky. I'm a little bit sad to having broken it. I think I've got some more somewhere. I just haven't ever seen it that tight. Here we go. And yeah, plenty of thermal compound. So they've got thermal compound on the RAM, the NVMe, and the SoC, which is very, very nice. I'm quite happy with that. These giant interfaces are kind of unique and cool too. If that webcam wants to play autofocus with me, there we go. Very interesting, nice design. I've got a whole pile of headers here that have had some solder on them before. They're probably going to be test pads. I hope, there we go, that webcam catches up. Test pads there. We've got a QC sticker, which is always good, and a few other, designations for approvals and whatnot. But that is very, very well made, in my opinion. We know that's the N150 SoC under there. And there's screw holes here that line up with there, but then, oh yeah, they're the two that I unscrewed. So that's ensuring that's really cool. They've designed this so that when they're assembled together, it's putting tension on the point that's necessary to hold, I guess, the SoC against the thermal mass. So that is well designed. Let's put this back together with the fan on, see how loud that fan is, and then maybe consult my notes in Obsidian to see if there's anything else in this that I actually wanted to test. I mean, it works really, really well, and I've been really happy with it. I'm a little bit confused about that SATA incident, but I can only imagine that that's software or to do with my drives, because it did boot eventually, but it seemed to have a bit of a timeout issue earlier on. So for now, let's just plug this in, whichever way around it goes, and plug power back in to see how loud it is. That's mostly what I'm curious about here. That is bright. You cannot see that when the case is on, I don't think. Might get a little glow of it. That fan's dead silent though. Have a listen to this. Nothing. Nothing at all. That's my microphone from my collar. Sorry if you're getting some random noises there. All right, that fan is staying on. What a treat. So to keep the fan on, that gets slotted out through that little cutting in the aluminium, just like that. And am I missing something? What do the instructions say? Where's my mouse? I'm just going to scroll down on what I was looking at. They have good instructions on there. It says that you do literally just, okay, cable was getting in the way slightly there. So that just reaches there. We can screw this one back into that one. Get in there like that. Doesn't feel as sturdy as it could be. I think some of the issue there, I mean, it does say that this cable comes out the side. I feel like it'd make more sense that it sticks out that way. So let's quickly do that because it's not having the best time with lining up. I'd say the documentation is right, but could be better. So I'm just going to feed that through there. And it's going to be a little bit easier for that to stick down. So now, yeah, we've got a bit more room to screw that one in. The screw isn't very long though, and they're all the same length, which is interesting. So you are, here we go, that was a little bit easier. That's a bit more stable. Once it's on, you can probably push it back through. To keep it nice and tidy, I might even just loop it around once. Yeah, look at that. I don't like loose cables. I don't like it flapping around. So like that means that we're nice and taut, or not taut, but just tensioned enough that it's not loose. That definitely works for me. So let's screw this back together and then wrap this bad boy up. Talk about what I'm going to use it for and go from there. Give me a sec. So that is the ZimaBoard 2. What do we really have here? We have a very capable N150 based portable server. I'm not sure about the SATA interfaces, but I do love how deadly quiet that fan is. External PCIe 3.0 gives you a lot of options for testing things out too. If this was moved a millimeter further so that graphics cards could slot directly on, that would be really cool. I would, of course, prefer USB Type-C instead of DisplayPort for both power and DisplayPort, actually. That is a design option completely up to them. I do love the dual 2.5 gig, but I wished ZimaOS supported bridge mode networking, because then you could also use this as a Docker host with a 2.5 gig switch or similar built in. So you're not really consuming a LAN port, but you can kind of treat it as an intermediary or like a middleman. That being said, you could also use this for WAN inspection, WAN traffic inspection, SSL decryption if you want to run your own SL certificate, or you run your own CA, I guess. There is a lot of options for what you can do with this. Even as a portable media center using Plex or something like that would be very capable. The heat dissipation through the aluminium is excellent. I think the design overall is really quite beautiful. So I appreciate IceWhale sending me this to test out, because I think it is a fantastic product. It hasn't been out too long, so those one or two little bugs are kind of expected, but should easily be ironed out, and it seems like their support is really quite excellent. So I'll probably reach out to them and work out how to test that. I'm going to keep twiddling with this in the coming days and work out exactly what I want to use it for, but I've got a few ideas, so there might be another video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you want me to test anything, as always, I'm happy to. Don't forget to thank PCBWay for sponsoring this video as well. They're giving me money to compensate me for my time and for a little ad read, and that keeps these videos going. So click the link below and create an account if you haven't already, and just explore even, what tools you can buy from them for stuff. Or some of the tools I get from these guys, name brand, are better than, cheaper than what you can get online. And then lastly, if you weren't aware, I do have Patreon. So I don't have many members, but you do get some perks like getting to access the videos without adverts on them, getting some behind the scenes information, being able to chat with me. I'll help you with your SBCs, that sort of stuff. So, jump in for free if you want, or pay as little as $3 US, $4 Australian per month, just to help me out. It goes a long way. So thank you to those patrons that are already there. For now, thank you to all of you for coming by. Don't forget to do all the things YouTube wants with a like and subscribe and comment and whatnot. But I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll probably catch you next week, as I've got a few things to catch up on. See you then.